Harden Engineering. We're the maker of the Switchblade guitars, and good to see you.
I'm also noticing that this amp, is this an amp?
Yeah, we make this amp too.
So that's a good little...
good part of the sound too.
So tell me about the amp. I mean, again, is this something you make like as a production, or you just make a few of them, or?
Oh, we just make a few of them. Again, our whole company is, you know, we're not huge. You know, we probably make 25, 30 guitars a year. Mm-hmm. The amp has just started, so we'll see how these do this year. But yeah.
What does the amp run cost-wise if somebody wanted to order one?
This amp direct from me, you know, $800.
It's a tube amp.
It's an all-tube, hand-wired amp. The chassis of it is made out of aluminum. It's similar to an early Fender Marshall-style amp. It's actually only about 5 watts, but you can see that it's a loud 5 watts.
Tell when you're videotaping and people are listening to this, but you can trust me, it is a loud 5 watts.
Right, that's kind of misleading. What the amp is I'm not reinventing the wheel here. I mean, it's a straight 50s style tube amp, but it's tweaked to have more volume and better distortion. You know, it's made to me. You know, the modern notion of amps, after the 50s, everybody kind of went to being a cleaner amp. Like Leo Fender's original amps, he didn't think they were clean enough, and by the late 60s and 70s, he got the amp that he wanted, which is a very clean amp that doesn't have a lot of give to it. To me, you know, being from Chicago and as a kid having Supro amps and cheap Chicago-made I mean, everything was made in the 50s in Chicago, so Supro amps and cheap tube amps, you know, you could buy them at a garage sale for $5. So when I was a kid, you know, you had a raunchy old tube amp that was great because it had distortion, you know, which is something that everybody loves in an amp. But instead of going more towards the real clean side of things, this is meant to be a dirty. Small amp for playing the blues.
Small rooms.
Right.
You know, it sounds like, I mean, I wouldn't imagine in a small room you'd need to even mic that because it's pretty loud.
It's pretty loud. One thing as a player that took me a long time to learn is that I used to be a guy that played huge amps and clubs, and in reality, you're not going to be heard better because if you're too loud, nobody can hear the singer, and you're not going to get hired to play the gig again.
Yeah, and also you're going to annoy people.
You're going to annoy people. If you got an amp like this that's distorted and they might get through the PA, it sounds as good as a Marshall because the PA guy is going to crank you up through there and it's going to sound great. So that was a real hard lesson for me to learn because, like most guitar players, I wanted to be ungodly loud on stage because it sounds good then, right? But this amp is meant to sound good. You know, and it's also good your wife won't divorce you. For having this amp, and that's a positive, you know.